how have you managed during the period of lockdown? And you found it easy, and I guess the return to training has been brilliant for you guys.
Yeah, everyone's been really excited that we're back in. Looking forward to working hard and continuing the season. Obviously, during the lockdown, it was difficult to maintain our physical side of work. Obviously, not being allowed at the ground and stuff, we've had to do a lot of road runs and trying to do workouts in the park and at home. So it has been tough, but we've got a good set of lads and everyone's made sure they kept themselves in good nick.
Any music stories from your road runs? I mean, you didn't nearly get run over by somebody, or you didn't have to shout to people, get out of the way, we're running too slowly?
No, there were a couple of times where you're running and there's people walking and the road's quite thin, so you kind of just get held up a bit or have to kind of look in the road to see if there's any cars behind and then kind of just arc round. But yeah, that was probably the most of it, nothing too major.
Have you become an expert at how far 2 meters is for the social distancing?
Yeah, I'd say that's about 1 meter. So yeah, been hearing a lot of it, 2 meters all the time. So yeah.
You're not going to give forwards 2 meters, though, are you? When you're in the penalty area?
No, of course not. Can't do that. So yeah, once we're back in the contact phase, then it's back to being as close as possible.
Has normal things like going to the supermarket, filling up the car, I mean, any of those sort of things been, I won't say scary, but sort of like you've been wary of doing those things?
To be fair, my missus has done all the supermarket trips, bless her. So she's been, but that's because she don't really trust me to get all the right stuff. But yeah, in terms of petrol, it's been okay because I just taken gloves with me and then with a face mask and then just dispose of it afterwards. But yeah, I actually haven't been to the supermarket since quarantine started. So yeah, I've been alright on that front.
Well, you've obviously got a very understanding missus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strange new norm, isn't it? Having to wear gloves, put sanitizer on your hands, wear face masks.
Yeah, it is. I think it's like before it happened, I think early Feb, no one really would have thought of all this happening. Obviously, we was hearing about the pandemic and things in other countries, but until it starts to get closer to home, you never really think it's going to happen. But once the reality hits, it was a lot to take on for everyone.
Has it changed your view of normal life now forever?
Yeah, I think it has. I think it for a lot of us has put things into perspective. Obviously with the game of football, we all love it, but it has put that into perspective as well in terms of safety is always paramount, and although we do get caught up in it, there are life is a lot bigger than just football.
So you won't be sitting closer than 2 meters to me ever again then?
Nah, give you about 10 meters, mate.
On a more serious note, I mean, obviously, COVID-19 has sadly killed a lot of people, and studies have been showing that people from a BAME background are more susceptible to getting it in terms of a very strong way and perhaps dying of it. Has that been a concern?
I think, yeah, when you look at it, you have got to look at all the statistics. The fact I've got obviously 2 young children as well, they're obviously always got to think more than just myself. But I think the way we have gone back in, the club have made sure that people stick really, really tightly to the guidelines, and they're making sure that they're not trying to push anything forward too quickly. So as long as everyone sticks to the protocols, I do feel safe going back, and yeah, I haven't got a problem with it.
You have the tests every week. How anxious are you in the run up to getting the results? Because look, some people have tested positive and have no idea how they got it.
Yeah, I think I'm more anxious doing the tests because you have to stick it all the way to the back of your tonsils and up your nose. So yeah, it is quite an uncomfortable feeling. But I think being tested twice a week, obviously, it does give you that kind of it does keep you in the know that, you know, we're all COVID-19 free at the moment. So as long as we keep the testing going and you stick to your normal routines, there shouldn't be too much to worry about.
Do you get anxious though on the morning when the results are handed out to make sure that, you know, oh, thank goodness I've tested negative again?
Yeah, you know, I think there is always that little feeling with all tests that you do, you know, just making sure that it is negative. But, you know, I don't really do much outside of football and home life. So, you know, my general routine, I don't really expect to get it. But obviously, as you said, there have been players that haven't expected it as well. So there is that side of things that is there any little way that I could catch it, or anything I've done that could have possibly made me more susceptible to catch it?
Absolutely. We're getting close to the start of resuming the season. How excited are you by it, or do you think it's coming a week or two early?
I believe, you know, it has been a long layoff, but you know, as I touched on a bit before, we have been trying to keep to doing our runs and our home workouts each week. The club's been giving us sort of weekly workout plans and things like that. So I believe, obviously, with that added to the few weeks of preparation before the season, I do feel like most of us feel like we will be ready in the time. So yeah, I think the biggest part is just excitement. Obviously, you know, there's not going to be fans and things, so that will take a bit of the edge off. But you know, I think the boys are really excited to get back to work and just being in that working environment, being around each other every day.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I mean, obviously, this season was the countdown to leaving Griffin Park, and in all likelihood and all probability, there won't be another game with fans inside Griffin Park. That must sadden you.
Yeah, it is. For all the players, all the staff, and obviously, especially the fans, you know, is a real big downer. We didn't really have a chance to, you know, do a real farewell to Griffin Park, but I believe the last game we did play, we done really well. It was a big win, so I think that will sort of soften the blow a little bit. The fact that we were able to put on such a good performance in the last game that we played there.
Yeah, but you know, all the fans would want to come for, you know, nick a chair or two, and you know, a bit of memorabilia. And I don't know, what, are you going to walk off with some of the dressing room afterwards, after you disinfected it, obviously?
I'll have to check with the powers that be what's allowed and what's not allowed. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be some sort of bits that people will be trying to take away.
In terms of that as well, I mean, Griffin Park can be a real plus for you because it's a tight little ground, and you know, when your fans are behind you, it can be a real intimidating atmosphere for teams. I mean, when you go back, your first two games are Fulham away, but then West Brom at home, and in front of no supporters, that's not going to be a help, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, Griffin Park, it is a really intimate ground. When you're near the sidelines, you get a real feel of the energy in the crowd right next to you, and a lot of the time, you know, it does give us that extra little edge. And you know, when they're behind us as well, it does really help us to get our momentum going. It is like having an extra man out there. So yeah, it is a really important factor, I'd say.
And of course, it's a great quiz question. It's the only ground with a pub on each corner. You been into any of the pubs?
I actually haven't. I haven't had a chance. Usually after games, you know, we're straight into recovery mode, you know, straight back home trying to prepare for the next training session or midweek game. So yeah, I haven't had a chance to get in myself, but I think a few of the people that have come to watch me play, they've, you know, mentioned the atmosphere in the pubs and that. Yeah, they really enjoyed it. And
of course, you've got promotion to go for this season. I mean, you're 10 points off West Brom in second, but still got to play them. More importantly, the playoffs and maintain your place in the top six for the playoffs. So there's a real, I don't know, you really do have to hit the ground running. You can't really afford to take 2 or 3 weeks to get back into the swing of things, can you?
Yeah, of course. There's 9 games left, and there's still a lot of teams that have things to play for. So we know that we're going to need to be on the front foot from the first game. It will be difficult with a lot of games in a short space of time, but I feel like the coach and staff and all the other staff are really preparing us to get us ready, and us within ourselves, we're all pushing for the same thing. We all want the same things, and I feel like if we can just continue from where we pick up from where we left off, I don't see any reason why we can't achieve our goals.
And of course, you'll be playing summer football, which you won't have played before. I mean, it should be hot and sunny. It has been recently. That might be difficult as well.
Yeah, of course. We're used to having pre-season during these months, which is renowned for how difficult it is. So it will be a new experience playing a lot of games during the summer. But we've been training in it for a week or so now, so we're getting used to it, and it's going to be the same for every team. So whatever we're feeling, the opposition will feel it as well. So it will still be a level playing field in them terms.
One of the topics regarding behind closed doors is maybe should clubs put piped crowd noise into the stadium. I mean, would you like that, or do you just want to listen? There's no one here, so let's just play in like it's on a park.
Yeah, I haven't really thought of that too much, but yeah, I think just playing in a natural setting, because as players will know that it's basically artificial noise, really. So I think just full focus on the game, and yeah.
I mean, you'd be gutted if you scored a goal and a bloke hit the wrong sound effect, like it was a sound effect for just going wide instead of going in.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. Celebrations. There's no one to really run to or cheer at. So yeah, a lot of thought. I haven't thought about any of this really.
Another one is substitutions. I mean, more substitutions than normal. Normally 3. Talk of 5. Do you think the rule change of having 5 substitutions would be a good idea?
Yeah, I think it could be. Obviously, with there being planned to have so many games in such a short period of time, I reckon it can increase the chances of injuries, and obviously the fatigue levels will be a lot higher. So I think that will be helpful for a lot of teams, especially with the break and just getting back into things. It does. I think all of those little factors can increase the risk of injuries and things like that. So yeah, I definitely think it will help a lot of teams out, having that extra couple pair of legs being allowed to bring on.
And a multi-ball system. I mean, you can't have you smacking the ball out the ground at Griffin Park and wait for someone to run round and pick it up and bring it back and disinfect it again. It's a multi-ball system. Again, that will improve the pace of the game, won't it?
Yeah, it will stop. It will just speed it up really. So when you're trying to get a breather, the ball will be back in play quicker. So I don't know if that's what all players will want, but yeah, I think in terms of keeping the pace of the game and speeding it up, it will definitely have an effect.
Have you ever managed to clear any of the stands at Griffin Park?
Not yet, but I've still got a few games left to try.
We spoke, a lot of people speaking about the situation at other clubs where players out of contract say that they may not want to play again because they fear getting injured, and everyone can see both sides of the argument. Where do you stand on that?
Well, yeah, as you said, there's both sides of the argument. I think it's got to be, it's different for each player. It's a personal thing in how they feel in themselves and their bodies. Obviously, some players coming to the end of their contract, they might not have things sorted out, so they'd want to do as much as they can to showcase themselves. Whereas on the other hand, there's players that might have be more set and have things sorted, so they want to prevent any risk. So I can definitely see it from both sides, but personally, I'd probably want to play because I always just want to be out there playing as much as I can.
When we last spoke down at training ground, we went through your career from non-league to this point. How amazing would it be if at the end of what has been an incredible 2020 for so many reasons, you did end up in the Premier League?
Yeah, that would be a dream. You know, I think so many young children when they're in primary, secondary school, a lot of them dream of playing in the Premiership, and even from watching Match of the Day every Saturday, you know, it's what a lot of young boys aspire to get to. And yeah, I do think that would basically be a dream come true. But obviously, there's still 9 to 12 games to play, so you know, we just gotta focus on the next game always and just take it one game at a time.
Were there times over the last 3 months you thought you'd never get that chance, though, this season?
Yeah, because obviously when it first started, there was a lot of talk of just cancelling or voiding the season. So it would have been a big disappointment. But obviously, you know, as I mentioned before, you know, safety, if it was a case where it couldn't be done due to safety reasons, then that's something that we'd all have to accept. But, you know, looks like things have got going again. So
homeschooling, what's been your best lesson to do for homeschooling at home, or haven't you had to do homeschooling at home?
Yeah, again, my partner's done most of it, but I've done a few PE lessons and a few of the maths lessons. So.
Sorry, PE, well, PE doesn't count for football. The maths lessons, okay, I'll give you that.
Done a few of the maths lessons with the little one, so yeah, he's good at maths. The English lessons, they're a bit harder, they're a bit technical because a lot of the language and phonics things they do, you kind of forget as you get older. So it's like I'm learning along again with him. But yeah, he's done well, to be fair to him. He's taken it on board and he's listened well during his little webinars and stuff like that.
So you're going to be picking me up on my language every time I interview you now after a game? No, sorry, that's the wrong tense. That's the wrong noun. That's the wrong verb.
Yeah. No, I won't mention it. I just keep it in my head.
Everybody seems to have watched The Last Dance. Have you? And what have you taken from it that you might implement in terms of the way you act or celebrate goals in future?
Yeah, I have watched it. I was actually quite into the NBA even before this came out. So I did used to watch like quite a bit of basketball. Yeah, so I think obviously a lot of people watching it might not have known like quite how good Michael Jordan was or how iconic he was. So I think it's been like a real eye opener to the top level sport and like the top players, the mindset and the willingness to win. And I think that having that kind of mindset, it can really resonate throughout the team and it can get your teammates going as well. So I think that's one thing that can be taken away from it.
I was going to say, do you reckon a lot of players will have watched it and now they'll go into a dressing room and they'll say some of the things he said and try and implement some of the things he did?
Yeah, maybe not to his extremes, but in some form, in a filtered way form.
Chores. Everyone's garden is now looking great. Everyone's tidied up their house. Although, actually, to be fair, you haven't been shopping or done much homeschooling, so I dread this question. But, what's been the chores that you've enjoyed doing most that you haven't maybe had a chance to do before?
I quite like loading and unloading the dishwasher. Find it quite relaxing. Putting away the boys' toys as well. So once they go bed, the house is basically full of toys on every level. So yeah, just finding out where each toy goes, what box goes in what. Yeah, that's been quite relaxing as well. So yeah, those are the two that I try and stick to. So
in a normal way of things, when you're playing football, you don't do the dishwasher very often?
Not as often as I have. But I still try to help when I can. But yeah, my partner, she kind of likes things done how she likes. So I tried just to not get in the way.
You find it very therapeutic.
Yeah, exactly. Put a bit of music on and then just get on my way.